Breakfast Daily right here on CITI TV. And we've also been joined by executives from one waste disposal agency or waste disposal management body that has actually shot up and is growing so wildly right now in the country. Initially, we were hearing about one particular name, and subsequently, at an amazing rate, another name seems to have, it just expanded all of a sudden. I'm talking about Jekora Ventures Limited. I've been joined by the managing director of Jekora Ventures Limited, and his name is Nate Chokoli Emmanuel. Good morning, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Good morning.
We've also been joined by the administrative manager of Jekora Ventures Limited, Felix Lai. Good morning, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Good morning, and thank you.
It's such an honor to have both of you here. I mean, and I kid you not, the name Jekora, from the first time I heard of Jekora to date, I think you've grown to be probably the hugest in the country right now. And I want to start off by saying congratulations on,
thank you.
On the hard work.
Thank you.
So tell us about Jekora. I'll start with you, Felix.
Right, so thank you. Jekora is a waste management company currently operating in the Korle-Klottey Municipal Assembly, Adenta Municipal Assembly, and then also Wejagbawe Municipal Assembly. We started in 2003 from very humble beginnings, cleaning lorry parks and markets, and we've grown gradually to become one of the best, if not the best, waste management company in the country.
You started by cleaning lorry parks.
Yes, and gradually we've grown on our own steam to become one of the best now. Our vision is to be the leading waste management and resource recovery company, improving Ghana's environment and public health. And this has been the force behind what we do, so that everything we do as a company is towards this goal, so that we make sure that at the end of the day, we are able to meet this target that we've set for ourselves. We are not the everyday waste management company just hauling refuse from our clients to the final disposal sites. We have tried to look at innovative ways of dealing with waste. So we also call ourselves the innovative waste management.
The innovative waste management. So speaking of, I just want to pick on the word innovative as to what are some of the innovative ways or innovative solutions Jekora apply, but I think I'll go to Natakoli on this one. What are some of the innovative ways that Jekora applies to waste disposal?
Right, thank you, and good morning to your listeners. Waste normally is the general term we call it here, and it's very popular. But waste can actually be a resource, and there's a scientific way of analyzing it, knowing the constituent parts, and then there are technologies that can be applied. So when you have that at the back of your mind, you'd be able to save based on the waste types. You know, we bundle everything together, so it is waste. That's useless. But if you are able to know the constituent parts, which the AMA has done, for example, currently the figure of about 60% of the constituent parts is ascribed to organic biodegradable waste. And then we know that that can be channeled into creating organic fertilizer. So if you're able to get this and separate it at source, that's an innovative way of diverting the bulk of the waste from the landfill. Plastics is a major problem for all of us. It's scattered all over. But from plastics, you can create plastic pellets. You can create products that are needed on the market. Even textiles, some of them are being created from plastics now. So you design an innovative system of capturing this in a pure form to beat down the cost of the end product, so that it's an innovative way of creating jobs, creating another line of economy in the, in the scheme of things.
I need you to break it down to me, because you did break it down to me earlier, and I found it really fantastic. It's a really fantastic idea that Jekora is adopting, and I want the viewers to also understand exactly where we are coming from, or where you are coming from. So when a person has waste or a heap of garbage, we have about what percentage being organic waste?
60%.
About 60% being organic waste.
Yes.
So in an average heap of garbage, you're going to have about 60% being organic waste, and about what percentage being plastic, for instance?
17%.
About 17%.
Yes.
Wow.
And then about 7 being paper. You add these three, you have over 80%.
About 80%.
And this is what everybody would normally lump into one box for the contractor to come and carry and take away and travel maybe 100 kilometers in and out.
To go and dump it somewhere.
To go and dump it somewhere. Meanwhile, using fuel, wear and tear, sweating to buy the equipment from outside, and then you go and dump it somewhere. When you dump it at that place, the problem is not even done with.
So the waste is still there.
It's still there, and then you have gases, greenhouse gases, being emitted through the decomposition process there.
So the waste that you have thrown away from your home, or we throw away from our home, if we don't take care of it well, more or less, it's going to even cause eventual harm to the environment.
So they talk about climate change. A lot of it, some of it, a greater proportion is from the haulage, emission of
So now tell us about the Jekora approach to solve this particular problem.
Okay. So when you are hauling over such distances, you have operational costs, maintenance costs going up. Then your turnaround time is also limited. So you have a limited number of people you can serve. Now, if you are able to teach your clients the art of separating, for them to understand, incentivizing them, because nobody would do things freely. Every human being wants free things, right? But you incentivize them to do it. And what we do is that the imposed rates by the assemblies, we give a discount on it. And then we take them through training for them to see and get the benefits.
Okay, let's just stay at the point about, you know, the rubbish segregation.
Okay.
So, for instance, you come to CITI, you would have an agreement with us where we are going to separate plastic from organic waste, and then of course maybe from paper as well.
Yes, these are the three main.
So we have the three main components
because they are over 80%, and if you're able to divert 80%, you're extending the landfill lifespan. You're going to create a lot of jobs, and
that would also reduce our AMA cost as well.
Yes.
So it's like a win-win situation for everyone.
It's a win-win situation for everyone, and also for the environment.
And also for
because
the environment.
The problems that landfills create for the environment, which impact negatively on climate, you are going to abate them or reduce them to a barest minimum.
So just to complete the cycle. So now we've separated the three main components forming over 80% of the waste. That is plastic, organic, and of course paper. So then Jekora comes for these in separated portions.
Yes.
And then what goes on next?
Okay, for the organic, for example, our primary aim is to avoid contamination. Once you mix, you contaminate, it's a huge cost to clean. So we come for the organics, and then we send it to our Fortify production plant.
Wow.
Which is
you have a production plant for Fortify?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a partnership owned by TMA, Tema Metropolitan Assembly, and then Jekora Ventures. Now, the formulation of the product also was done by International Water Management Institute. All the equipment that we are using there were fabricated by CSIR. So in doing this, we couldn't do it alone, but we had to come into appropriate partnerships with agencies that had also focused on best practices in the environment. And we've been able to do this. So we send it there, and then liquid waste, let's say toilet shit. Excuse me to say that it also contains a lot of nutrients, organic matter content. So the separated organic waste, which is non-contaminated from lead, acids, batteries, and other things, is mixed together with this. We use a process called dewatering and then composting, using temperature to regulate. Over a period of 90 days, you get a very good product, which is qualitatively far better than the chemical fertilizers we import.
So that's the Fortify?
That's the Fortify for the compost. Now, when it comes to the paper waste, not ordinarily to the uninitiated eye, paper waste, you may have plastics on them, you may have other. So we have a holding point where we do what we call the first stage pre-processing. So if there are plastics on them, you remove them. Unwanted things that off-takers wouldn't want, you remove them. You reduce volume, you bale, you compact, and then they come and take it off. In doing this, you are diverting what ordinarily would have gone to the landfill, and then you would have spent a lot of money as Jekora on fuel to travel in traffic. But a company needs it. Somebody sitting at home needs, let's say, a toilet roll or an egg crate, and you are creating a line of jobs. And based on the, natural economic principles, supply, demand, production, distribution, consumption, these are systems that doesn't need government subsidy. The individual needs it. So you create that circular
So
economy.
you're creating
system.
jobs and also improving
Right.
on the economy as well,
As
and
well
also
as the
fighting. Wow.
Yes.
Anyway, so I think that's just a fantastic, well thought out plan from Jekora Ventures. Now I want to ask you also. Recently, AMA also reviewed their bylaws, in respect of sin, and how does that affect you? What was the salient differences between the old laws and the new ones, and how does that affect you as a company?
All right. So we are excited to have the new bylaws.
You prefer the new ones to the old ones?
Yes, because there are additions that help our work and make our work easier. All right. So then with the new one, it's now become an offense. Already, it was anyway, but it wasn't stated. It become an offense to deal with unauthorized service providers. So that you find that in each area, you find some people we call the aboboyas, so some of the mini tricycles going around collecting refuse, and then it's become an offense to deal with them. So that, first of all, to start with, waste is not your property. Once you generate waste, it becomes the property of the assembly. So it's the assembly's responsibility to tell you who to deal with that waste, who to manage that waste on your behalf. So then it's become an offense for you to deal with an unauthorized person, because then you can't tell where the waste is going. You can't tell whether the person is going to travel the 90-kilometer journey to dump it and come back, or is going to dump just behind your house. So to be able to regulate, that has been stated there. We already had the bins, but it's been reinforced so that the generator is supposed to provide a receptacle for the bin. The standard bins that have been listed, we have the 120, the 240, the 1100, and then for the commercials, some of them use the 12 cubic or the 23 cubic. So the generator is supposed to provide that. On our part, we can
So of course,
supply.
you are one of the approved companies
Yes.
that the AMA would want us to deal with.
Yes, so of course. And the areas are zoned. So each zone has a contractor who is accredited to deal with the waste in that area. So that that person can be monitored, the work can be monitored, and it can be evaluated to know whether you are doing well or not. If you're not, if you need to be changed, if the area has to be downsized, all that can be done. Yes.
Okay.
Now, if I may add on,
yeah.
I think in the new bylaws too, space had been provided for resource recovery, recycling, which wasn't in the first one. And then the offenses have been also
clearly stated.
Clearly stated, and the punishments for that have also been clearly stated.
Of course. Now, when it comes to criminal law, we know that the offense has to be written, and of course the punishment for same stated. Otherwise, it's not a valid offense. So now I want to also touch really briefly on the 2018 assessment by the AMA, and apparently you were the only company actually that performed satisfactorily. I want you to touch on that briefly.
Right. Thank you. We are all operating franchise agreements, and there are obligations stated clearly in them. Performance expectations, the key stakeholders being AMA, that is the owner of the waste,
of course,
and the regulator too. And then you have the generator, who is producing what is valuable but things that it is waste. And then you have the service providers. And there is a monitoring scheme that is in it. And the evaluation has been going on. Well, since we started in 2009, evaluations have been going on, but this year that it has become public. And to break it down simply, the basic ones are coverage. Okay.
In a word or two, I need to break it down in a word or two.
Coverage and performance.
Okay.
Yeah, coverage is the number of clients
that
you are servicing within your assigned zone. Performance is you are meeting the performance standards, and you are being measured according to that. You are reporting on your delivery at each point in time. And when the assessment is being made, it is interactive. All the companies come and sit down, AMA presents its case, and you're allowed to critique. And criticisms which are found fair are brought onto it. So the final one that came out was very interactive.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so we are really glad that, well, I'm happy for you as a company to watch you grow over the years since 2003, you say? Okay, so I'm taking your final words each, really briefly, and you should also tie it in with the president's vision to make Accra the cleanest city, in West Africa.
Well, I think it's something that we can achieve, but then we'll have to take very bold steps to do that. There are two things I think we can do. If we take education and then enforcement. If we take just education, people may take us for a ride. So there need to be the bit of enforcement so that people know that they get punished for doing the wrong thing. I'm sure that with these two moving very boldly and getting everybody engaged, not leaving the government to deal with it alone or the private sector to deal with it, but both the government, private sector, and then also individuals, households, commercial properties, everybody coming together. I think it's something that can be done. We have about 18 months. And it's quite some time that can change attitudes if we really enforce, make sure that people who are supposed to enforce are doing what they should do. Once there's a bit of enforcement, people would not want to get into trouble, so they will be forced to do the right thing. Okay. But without that,
it's going to be a bit difficult. Yeah. Thank you very much, Felix. And final words?
Well, in general terms, I think all of us exist in the environment, and life, all human endeavor takes place within the environment. So we must position the environment at the center of everything. I may dare say that even political parties should place environment at the center of ideology. So when we do that, then all the rest, the implementation policies will fall in line. Attitudes will change, value systems would improve, and then we can make progress. And Mother Nature will be happy with us. Otherwise, Mother Nature doesn't need us if we misbehave. It will punish us severely. Okay. So we must bear that in mind.
Well, I must say that I do really admire the whole well thought out chain and the whole recycling parameters, starting from the segregation at the consumer point, you know, separating plastic from organic material and also from paper as well. That is really fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on Breakfast Daily. So we're joined by the Managing Director of Jekora Ventures Limited. He is Nate Tokoli Emmanuel, and of course, Felix Lai. He is also the Administrative Manager of Jekora Ventures. Once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you for affording us this opportunity to speak to you.
It's always an honor. It's always an honor.
Viewers, thank you very much.